Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, and it's finally here. We are going to be previewing day one of Glorious Goodwood. I'm going to be there with BBC Radio 5 Live. I can't wait to do that. Also as well, I'll be there on Ladies' Day on Thursday with BBC Radio Sussex and Surrey. So good times ahead, and there's 5 great days of racing, and we're going to preview every race every day and give you a selection for one, and hopefully I can point you in the direction of some winners. We did not bad at this meeting last year. We had a few nice price winners, and hopefully we can have the same kind of festival like we did last year. Anyway, we'll get straight into the action for the first race, the 150, and I'm going with a horse here called Silver Line. 9-1 with bookmakers at the moment, trained by Saeed bin Sarur, and Jason Watson is booked for the rider. Very promising claimer. He's going to be taking £5 off tomorrow. Now, last time we saw this horse, it finished in 3rd place at Sandown after a little bit of a layoff. It went off to Maidan in Dubai for the winter, ran okay out there, did nothing special, but then on its reappearance at Sandown, it put in a really good race, and it's gone up in trip for that race. It did. It went up to a mile, and it's going to be going up to a mile and 2 tomorrow, and that's a really interesting move. It was absolutely storming home at the end at Sandown, and that wasn't a bad race that day. And I think this is going to be a bit of a cunning tactic here, moving it up in trip. Also as well, it's going to be well handicapped. It's going to be receiving a lot of weight from a lot of its rivals tomorrow, especially with that £5 claimer. Saeed bin Sarur's stable have been in really good form over the last couple of weeks. They're operating at a 44% strike rate, so they've been having a lot of winners. And this horse was originally, a couple of years ago, off a mark of 106. With that weight allowance tomorrow, it's going to be off a mark of 93 pretty much. And in this field, I thought it was a strong each way play, and I thought 9-1 wasn't a bad each way bet there. And I could definitely see this horse bouncing back in this Class 2 handicap. We then go to the Vintage Stakes, the 225. Quite a competitive renewal, this one. A lot of good horses could emerge from this race. I quite like the chances, though, however, of a horse called Blonde Warrior. 9-1 with bookmakers at the moment, trained by Hugo Palmer. Will Buick is booked for the ride. He's got a 67% strike rate when riding for Hugo Palmer at Goodwood, so that's a fantastic strike rate. 2 wins in its career so far, and it's going to be seeking a hat-trick tomorrow after wins at Great Yarmouth and Doncaster. I was really taken with the Doncaster win last time out. It was a hands and heels job, and in the end was kind of just like an exercise for it, and I like to see what this horse can do, and I think it was a massive price when I was looking through this, and I thought 9-1 was at a decent price, and I'm going to be backing that one, especially from the each way tomorrow. I can definitely see it making the frame. We then go to the Lennox Stakes, the 3 o'clock, and I quite like the look of Dutch Connection. I think he was overpriced, 12-1 bookmakers at the moment. Charlie Hill's trained. James Doyle takes the colours in the Godolphin Blue tomorrow. Now, this horse absolutely loves Goodwood. 3 wins from 4 runs. Its form figures are 1, 2, 1, 1, and it won this race a couple of years ago, so we know it likes a trip. Bit of a 7 furlong specialist. This year's been a little bit up and down, however did run a good race in the Lockinge at Newbury to finish in 4th place. I thought this horse was a massive player tomorrow. Yes, it might maybe just find 1 or 2 too good, but it could spring a surprise. It also as well won Glorious Goodwood last year. Absolutely loves this kind of time of year, loves this track, and I thought tomorrow he could maybe rewind the clock and maybe win the race. So that's going to be the selection there, Dutch Connection. We then go to the 3:35 for the Goodwood Cup. Now, Stradivarius deserves to be favourite, and he could win, but I'm going to take him on, and I could look really foolish here, but I'm going to stick to my cards. I think there could be a shock in this race tomorrow. Now, if you're saying, Chris, why are you going for a shock? That's because I quite like the chances of Call to Mind. Maybe you might want to back him without Stradivarius. You can get him at 5-1, but I'm going to back him to win the race. He's 12-1 with bookmakers at the moment. In the colours of Her Majesty the Queen, would be a very popular winner of the day. Trained by William Haggis, and James Doyle has been called upon to ride in the colours of the Queen. Now, this horse ran a good race behind Stradivarius at York a couple of starts ago when they had a Dante meeting, ran well that day, and then went over to America to pick up a grade 2. Yes, you might argue that that was quite weak, but Call to Mind did it nicely that day. Still only 4 years old and improving. I just think Stradivarius might have had a really hard race at Royal Ascot. He was reported to have been slightly lame afterwards, I think, or there was a slight niggle with him. So I don't know if that really took him out, but obviously John Gosden is a maestro trainer and could easily have Stradivarius ready for this race, and he probably wouldn't be running it if he didn't think he would win. But I thought maybe there could be a little bit of an upset on the cards tomorrow, and I thought Call to Mind was an interesting runner to take on Stradivarius, even though, yes, I know, 3 lengths behind in that run at York. We then go to the 4:10, and I quite like the chance here in this race of a horse called Serengeti Song. I think the market's been a little bit cruel to this horse. 16 to 1 bookmakers at the moment, trained by Kyle Burke, Northern trainer, coming all the way down to Goodwood. So they obviously think this horse has got a chance. PJ McDonald is booked for the ride. Finished second behind an odds-on Archie Watson horse on debut and was running on really well, strongly at the end. And Goodwood is one of those tracks where you want to be finishing off strongly. It was an odds-on favourite, that Archie Watson horse, and had some good form prior to that with a decent run at Chepstow behind a decent horse of Richard Hughes, which is now rated 90. So I thought Serengeti Song tomorrow, there could be maybe a little bit of money for it around. And at 16 to 1 in a field where anything could throw up, I thought maybe Serengeti Song was a little bit harshly treated in the market and maybe could be one that could go well. We then go to the 4:45, and I quite like the chances here of a horse called Pettochside. 7 to 1 bookmakers at the moment, trained by fairly local trainer John Bridger. Holly Doyle booked for the ride, who has a very good relationship with this horse. Finished second in the Epsom Dash, which was an absolute blinder of a run. Also as well, it won in May at Goodwood. It loves the track. It's won here quite a few times before. Also as well, there could be a little bit of rain around tomorrow. There could be some rain overnight. So if the ground does soften a bit, this will definitely play to Pettochside's strengths. And I thought if there was maybe a little bit of cut in the ground, maybe 7 or 1 could be a good price, and I could definitely see this horse running well. We then go to the last race, the 5:15, to finish it off, and I quite like the chances here of a horse called Hateya. 16 to 1 with bookmakers at the moment, trained by Jim Boyle, who's stable in really good form. Pat Cosgrave booked for the ride. Now you can forgive its run last time out at Ascot. I think it was unlucky that day. Before that, however, it absolutely put some emphatic wins together. Won 3 times this year, and that last win came at Epsom. And I'm thinking, really, if you're looking at the prices, 16 to 1, there could be some dangerous value in that. And I thought, again, that could be one that could be well supported. Maybe a bit of a gamble on developing in the Lucky Last tomorrow. And that's going to be my selection here. So they're the selections for day 1 of Glorious Goodwood. Let us know if you're going. It'd be great to see you, if any of you are around, maybe give you a wave or something. Also as well, let us know what you guys are going to be backing. Love to know what you guys are going to be having a bet on. Also as well, hopefully I can give you a few winners tomorrow. Also as well, please subscribe to my YouTube channel here at Lucky Loads 15. We'll be doing a preview as well for day 2 of the Galway Festival, so don't miss it. I'm not sure how quite day 1's gone so far, but we've had a couple of okay results there with a few okay each way, so hopefully we can get some winners a little bit later on at the time I'm recording this. So that's all I got to say, really. Enough of me waffling on. We'll end the video now. So yeah, please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.